Hello students, welcome to Virtual Chemistry. This is Dr. Padmaja. Please subscribe to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about basic introduction part of the IUPAC nomenclature. So what is IUPAC nomenclature, students? IUPAC stands for International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So IUPAC nomenclature introduction part. Let us start. So introduction to IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds. A very, very important topic, students. We'll discuss topic wise in this, a very lengthy topic. So in today's session, we are going to discuss only about basic introduction and how to write the name of organic compounds, and those rules and all we'll discuss in the next session. Okay, so coming to the name IUPAC nomenclature, if you see organic compounds, crores and crores of organic compounds are preparing. See, so many are existing, and every day many organic compounds are preparing. So, in order to have a common way of naming of organic compounds, IUPAC has given few rules. So, basically, according to IUPAC, the name of an organic compound will be having three parts. Name of any organic compound may or may not have all the three, but it should have three parts basically. What are those three, students? Prefix, root word, and a suffix. So the name always starts with a prefix. In the middle, there will be a root word and ends with a suffix. Coming to the prefix again, there are two kinds of prefixes, students. Secondary prefix and primary prefix. Secondary prefix and primary prefix. And even suffix is also having two parts, students. Those are primary suffix and secondary suffix. So let me tell you in detail about all these primary suffix, secondary suffix, everything. Okay, so root word, let us discuss all these things. Coming to the secondary suffix, it describes about either substituent. If you have any substituent in the molecule, that has to be written first. That has to be written first. Or else you can say branching or branches. Okay. So they have to be written first in the name of an organic compound. That describes the secondary prefix. What primary prefix? It's a few words, students. Those are, so the word cyclo should be added in few cases if you have a cyclic compound. So like if you are dealing with a cyclic compound like this, then you have to write cyclo word. Or else if you are dealing with bicyclo compounds, means two cycles are attached together like this, then you have to use the word bicyclo. Or if you are dealing with a spiral compounds, spiro word you have to use. So what is spiro and what is the difference between bicyclo and spiro? This is cyclo. What you have to use in this case? This is bicyclo. And coming to the spiral compounds are attached through a single carbon, students. If you see here, they are attached, two different rings will be there here also, just like bicyclo compounds. But both the rings are attached through a single carbon, where here we have two rings are attached through two carbons. These such compounds are said to be spiral compounds, and the word what we have to use here is spiro. Okay, that describes the secondary prefix, students. Spiro. Okay, clear? This is spiro, this is cyclo, and in this case we have to use the additional prefix, that is spiro. So cyclo, bicyclo, and spiro. Clear? Okay. So coming to the root word will explain about, it will explain about parent carbon-carbon chain length. It only explains about parent carbon-carbon chain length. How can we know that? I will give you list here, students. Okay, let us continue with here. So, number of carbons. One carbon, if it is present, we have to use the word meth. Two carbons, eth. Three carbons, prop. Four carbons, but. Let's continue here, students. Five carbons, pent. Six carbons, hex. Seven carbons, hept. Eight carbons, oct. Nine carbons, non. 10 carbons, dec. So these are the root words, students. That has to be in the middle of the name. If it has any substituent name should be written first, followed by, if we have such compounds, then you have to use a additional prefix, that is it to be primary prefix, that is cyclo, bicyclo, spiro. Then root word in every organic compound, root word will be there. Okay, so this root word is based on number of carbons in the parent chain. Okay, we have to see the longest carbon parent chain. That carbon chain is having how many carbons you have to count. If it is having only one carbon, meth. Two carbons, eth. Three carbons, prop. Four carbons, but. Five carbons, pent. Six carbons, hex. Seven carbons, hept. Eight carbons, oct. Nine carbons, non. 10 carbons, dec. So that's about root word. Coming to the primary suffix. After writing this root word, immediately you have to look for type of carbon-carbon bond in parent chain. Type of carbon-carbon bond in parent chain, students. If it is only single bond, if it is only a single bond, then we have to use the word ane. If it is having a double bond, you have to use the primary prefix "in." Triple bond, then you have to use the primary prefix "ine." Okay, so only these three are the words, students. Single bond "ane," double bond "in," triple bond "ine." Ane, in, ine. So if it is having meth and only single carbon, so methane and no double bond. Ether without any double bonds, ethane, or if you find any double bond, ethene, like that. Coming to the secondary suffix. Secondary suffix will explain about type of functional group. Type of functional group. Type of functional group. So depending on the type of functional group, we used to have different naming, students. Different naming. Okay, so if it is having let me tell you few functional groups. So if the functional group is alcohol, OH, then it is said to be all. Aldehyde, COH, then it is called all. Okay, so next is carboxylic acid, then we have to use the word oic acid. So like that, we need to discuss more about the functional group in detail, student. Just I gave few examples here. So a lot more we have to learn. We'll discuss when we are discussing about organic compounds with functional groups. IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds with functional groups. Okay, clear? In this session, let me explain about substituents, students. Okay, so I told you already. First, always the name should start with the substituent. Okay, substituent, if it is present, then we have to use the word either cyclo, bicyclo, bicyclo, spiro. Then we have to add the root word, then type of carbon-carbon bond in parent chain only. Okay. Then you have to write the name of functional group. Functional group. These are the things that you have to write in the name of any organic compound. It will cover almost all type of organic compounds. In some organic compounds, they might not be having these words. They may not having functional group. Let me tell you one example, students. Example, write the IUPAC naming of CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. Write the IUPAC naming of this one. Here, is there any substituent, students? No substituent. Only we have one carbon-carbon chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so only one carbon-carbon chain. This will be a parent carbon chain. And you can give numbering either of this side or this side because it has no substituent, no double or triple bond. So give numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total 5 carbons. No substituent, no cyclo-bicyclo-spiral. It is a straight chain. So we write the root word directly, 5 carbons. So what root word we have to use, students? Pent. So write the word pent. And next follows type of carbon-carbon bond. So what kind of bond we have? A single bond. Single bond means we have to write the word ane. So pent, ane. Pentane. Is there any functional? No functional group. So the name of the compound is pentane. That's it. Okay. In this, let me tell you about the substituents. Okay. Let me explain about substituents, students. What kind of substituent generally will be there and how to write the name. Okay, the general substituents, let me explain one by one. The first one, if you find NO2, you can write the name nitro. NO2 means you can write the name nitro. Clear, students? Next, if you see halogens as X, then you have to like fluorine, chlorine, bromine. So this is the one which is attached to parent chain, students. And iodine, they have to be written as halo, like fluoro, chloro, bromo, iodo. Okay, next, if we find any alkyl substituent, what is this, students? Alkyl. This is halo. So alkyl means if you have a substituent like methyl, it is attached to a parent chain, then it is said to be only one carbon, methyl. So CH4 is methane, students. Methane. In methane, if one hydrogen is removed, it will become CH3. It is methyl. It becomes as a substituent. This is a compound. This is a substituent. Similarly, if it is having C2H5, C2H6 is ethane, C2H5 is ethyl. Okay, next, if you see C3H7 is called, C3H7 is called, C3H8 is pentane, propane, C3H7 is propyl, C3H7 is called propyl. Okay, like that, any substituent name you can write. So, but these in propyl, so again, we used to have N-propyl and isopropyl, 2 types, students. So they are comes under complex substituent. Adi manam marla discussed it. Okay, next. 4th one, if we find OR, it is called alkoxy. Alkoxy. So what is alkoxy? A methyl group that here the bonding won't be directly with the carbon. Instead, there will be an oxygen. So OCH3, methoxy. OC2H5, ethoxy. Similarly, in here I forgot to say C6H5. C6H6 is benzene. C6H5 is said to be benzyl. C6H5 is called benzyl. Okay, clear, students? Next, you find a substance like N double bond O, nitroso. And if you see N3 is Zido. So you have to know the naming of substituent. Substituent can be written directly in this way. See, functional group naming is different when they act as a functional group. When they same functional group may act as a substituent as well. Okay, regarding functional group, complete details we'll discuss in a separate class, separate video, students. Okay, clear? Okay, so that's all about the introduction part, students. Very, very important. What are that? So I discussed about prefix. What kind of prefixes will be there? Two types of prefixes. What are those two students? Primary, secondary prefix, and primary prefix. So secondary prefix is explaining about substituent. Just now we discussed about all those things. So substituent name will be included. And primary prefix will only have the words like cyclo, bicyclo, spiro, such words. Next, we discussed about second one, a root word. So root word will be explain about the maximum carbon-carbon, longest carbon-carbon chain, number of carbons in longest carbon-carbon chain, number of carbons. So I told you, 1 means meat, 2 means it, 3 means prop, like that. And next we discussed about suffix, where suffix is having again two parts. So primary suffix will explain about the type of the bond. So what are those types of bond, students? Single bond, we use the word in, double bond, in, triple bond, ein. And lastly, we discussed about the fourth, under suffix, secondary suffix. So secondary suffix will explain about root functional group. So if you have this basic knowledge, we'll discuss in the continuation class how to name nomenclature of alkanes. Okay, clear, students? Hope you understood general introduction part of IUPAC nomenclature. See you all again in the next video. Please subscribe and share and like. Thank you.